You're listening to the Recess podcast. Today on the show, we have the Ming brothers with us, Malaysians' all-time favorite digital creators. I'm Kessyl.
And I'm SueLyn. Let's go!
Ming Han, Ming Yue, welcome to the show.
No, what's up?
Good morning.
First up, hold on, Ming, you want to correct the...
It's actually Ming Yu.
Ming Yu.
Not Ming Yue.
Can we do that again? I'm so sorry.
No,
we
I
just
love
said-
it. It's okay.
Okay, let's just go. Ming Yu. Okay.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
I'm so
yeah,
happy
it's
you
the
guys
clip.
agreed to do this. I've been watching your videos since, I think, 6 years ago.
Yeah,
How-
this is where we all feel old
Way to
right
make
away.
us feel old, man.
Astaga. Hi. Oh my gosh. Thank you for having us on the show. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Let's just start. Like, how long have you guys been doing YouTube or creating contents?
Obviously, now that you've outed us with that, with the fact that you've been
More
watching
than
6
6 years.
years ago. Yeah, we've been doing it for more than 6 years. I think Ming An kicked off like videos back in 2011. 2010, 11.
But actually,
around
we were
there.
making content before our
Yeah.
TMT channel because my brother and I used to do more music. So we actually started making content like maybe 2010, 2009 before Menu flew off to UK. And TMT happened after that. So you could say it's like definitely more than 10 years, messing around with videos and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually scroll back on your YouTube channel, and then there was the first video 9 years ago. It was you like just solo, like
Complaining.
talking and
Yup.
explaining Facebook or something. I forgot, but yeah. And then you guys
Yup.
evolved to like comedy skits, and then short
Yeah.
films, and then reaction videos. And today you guys are doing a podcast.
Yeah. Just, getting really excited about content and then now trying to do as least as possible again. So, podcast is the best. You just show up and put on a mic and that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
Well, regardless, you guys have been wildly successful with over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube and over millions of views. No, don't
Oh,
be.
boy.
Yeah, we can
It's gonna
see
say
it.
Oh,
it,
boy.
like choice of words here. Wild is maybe just
Wild
like
is-
adequately, not even
Adequate.
successful, just adequate.
Right place, right time. Right place,
Yeah.
right time.
So how
Yeah.
has this journey been so far to go from little guitar and little music videos to like millions of views and subscribers?
Mingyu, what was your journey like popping back into
I
this?
don't know. I feel like we now that's never been in the same sentence for us.
Yeah.
It's I think today we're just figuring out. We constantly say this, that we're always figuring out like what we're doing now and what we're doing next. The mediums change. I think
Yeah.
you can look at the last 5 years, 10 years, right? And you can see how YouTube was. I'm using the keyword was the sort of like the center platform for digital content for quite a bit. And you're seeing how that's branched off into smaller versions of the different apps that we have today, like Instagram, TikTok, and then, Spotify and podcasts, stuff like that. So I guess for us, it's just figuring out what that content landscape looks like now and what we predict it to be in the next 10 years and putting that together with the team that we've built. And that's honestly, I guess, the best part of what we do.
TLDR has been confusing. It still is. We have no idea what we're doing, what we've done, and we still don't know what we're doing. So I think people mistake it like they think we have a plan and like we have no plan. We've been winging it for like a decade and like people haven't realized it yet. But so, we'll just keep on winging it for now. So, yeah.
I think you guys are really, really humble. I've watched so many YouTube creators in Malaysia, and
Oh, man.
like the era you said YouTube was, and you guys even did a few original series like the Delivery Boy, Unplugged Project, which I love. Can you walk us briefly through like ideation and bring this to life on screens? Like, what's the process like?
Wow. The process. I think I'm trying not to get technical because I don't think I'm a professional writer. It's like, it's that spirit of YouTube, right? You think of an idea, it seems really great. Then you tell a friend about it. And usually my friend is Ming Yu, and like, you think this is funny or not? And Ming Yu is like, wow, that's a shit idea. Let's not do it. I'm like, okay, then we don't do it. But most of the time it's like, hey, this sounds pretty cool. I will usually just write a few things out. And I have this technique, like it's called the back burner, right? So I have random ideas every day and I'll just write it. But for ideas, like I have a very interesting testing system. If I don't forget about an idea for a month, I'll go and start working on it. So that's how the Unplugged project came about. Delivery Boy came about. And then the hard stuff happens, like the production process and everything, which we had to learn, among these 10 years and going forth. Yes, last time in YouTube, it was much easier. Just a couple of guys get together, just shoot. I love that season where it's like super small crew, but you still can produce this crazy looking visuals, right? But now it's like, because the team has grown so much, processes, like Ming said, processes change as well, with the platform. But it's a lot of, technicalities aside, it's a lot of introspection and self-reflection of what you want to talk about and what you want to write into the story. That's very important to me, at least. And I've always been a believer of, like, if you write a good enough story or a good enough message, people just want to watch it, right? Because at the base of it, we're all the same. We're all humans. We're all going through the same thing, just in different ways. And I think that ideation sticks the strongest to me to develop a video or continue pursuing a video. Because coming from the music scene, I'll end with this, like this answer. Coming from the music scene, it's very easy to get absorbed into writing a song, and you just, it's all about you. But one thing I learned from YouTube was that it has to make sense for people to watch as well, right? It can't be so personal, like people watch it like, hey, what am I watching, But it's like, oh, I get it because I've been there. And I think that's what YouTube has really taught, is that balance between making it really you and something that everyone feels is really them as well. That's what they call relatability, the overused word. It's relatable, right? But yeah, that's the process in a really horrible nutshell. Yeah.
See. So when you talk about evolving, because you mentioned that you guys don't really have a plan, you're kind of winging it, going along with the flow, but at the same time, you're kind of being relatable and being true to yourself. So how do you think your content has evolved with you as a creator?
Have you seen Mingyu's reels? Like, they really evolve with us. Like,
yeah.
You take people through your reels, please. Like, that's like the most current piece of content. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I love that the reel of two of you guys. Talking about your client, and then your client's like, where's your that one friend? It's like so real. It happens in my best friend's video production company. Like, that's what their clients do to them. It's like, logo, now show me.
Yeah. I feel like there's as much as we joke and we say that we don't know what we're doing. I don't think we would have survived like maybe 10 years into the industry if we really didn't know what we're doing. I think one thing that we are good at is always coming up with solutions for the now and the next. And for us, that's also been what has actually kept us alive, because we were never content at just being comfortable where we were. And I think maybe that's also the good thing about it, right? Like, if we banked and put all our eggs in the basket for just YouTube and say back then, we're going to be a YouTube channel forever. This is going to be the shit until we're 50 years old, right? We'll die, And that's why there was like the YouTube channel. That's why we kind of like had a production studio, and now we have a creative consulting agency. There was always the understanding of the market always changes, and that means creativity and content needs to also change and evolve, just as we are as humans, right? And I think for me, after being dormant on Instagram for the longest time, like last year, MCO, like when MCO hit last year, I literally I was such a lousy influencer, and I was still surprised. Like, brands still came to me like, hey, you want to do something? Like, guys, my Instagram is dead, yeah. Like 2020, you scroll 3 times, it's 2019 already, It's that bad. And this year, when the second lockdown hit, I challenged myself and I said, you know what? Let's just make something with Instagram announcing reels, right? Let's try making something every day. And that was incredible for me. And I think what we saw from that was also a sort of like a resonating truth about content in general, because this year we did a lot of things. Like, we committed to doing podcasts every week despite the lockdown. We now have like a Discord community of over 2,000 people, and it's just like the new things that we wanted to try. Ming Han kicked off like this whole support local with food eats and stuff like that. Like, there's always something to try, and I think it always starts off with just the curiosity of like, what if I did this for a bit, and then and that's honestly where I'm at with the reels as well. I'm just like, I know I cannot keep up. Also, I'm just like, okay, what if I stop for a while? What if I start again? It's just been that, to be honest. Yeah.
I think the driving factor, like, content platforms might change, but I think the intent behind this is what's new, what's next, like what should we do? It's a very, very horrible vice. Just saying, it's a horrible double-sided sword, right? Double-edged sword, because you get bored with the stuff that you can do, and you always try and find something else. But yeah, that is true. It's the intention, the curiosity. As long as it doesn't kill the cat, we just keep on going, you know. So that's the premise of what we do all this time. Yeah.
So you think curiosity is the most important thing for you when it comes to creating contents, or is there anything else?
Oh,
I would say-
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Collectively as a team, individually as well.
The team has gotten so big right now. I don't know what grinds their gears, let's be honest. Jeremy over here, that's sitting in the corner with us here right now, there's all kinds of, he likes all kinds of funny stuff, which is all different to us. Like everyone has a different motivation in content, I feel. But I think the guys know as well, like I stand by a very, very simple factor. Like you keep the kid inside alive. Like no matter how old you grow, right? You got to keep your kid inside alive. And curiosity is what propels us as kids. It is the source of imagination. It is the result of imagination as well. And I feel like we create and we do things and play as a kid because we are curious in a certain sense. What is this? What can it be? You know, and what can I make of it as my own, right? And I feel like these days people are just scared to be curious. Like if you were curious, you wouldn't see if everyone was curious, you wouldn't see everyone following the same thing, right? You would be seeing so much more varied content. Like people are very comfortable following trends, and that is not curiosity. For lack of a better, I'm being very harsh and extreme, but a curiosity is basically trying new things. And if you put the kid factor into it without the fear of failing, right? Because as a kid, you don't care. You're curious, you do it, you get scolded lah. You know, that's it. If it's wrong, you know, if you fall down and break a leg, then you break a leg, right? But as we grow up, we learn fear and we learn failure, and that kills curiosity most of the time, right? And I've always tell the team, like, don't worry. I work with a girl called Vivian. Don't worry, you're getting paid to make mistakes. So go make mistakes. You know, I think that alleviates a lot of off the back of a creative when you know you are paid and you're okay to be failing at something, because a lot of times, you know, people penalize failure, and in the creative world that can't work the same, because you need to fail, you need to be curious to fail, and finally something doesn't fail and it works. But curiosity is the source of it, and I think when you stop wondering and you stop asking why, and that's the day everything dies. That's my opinion, at least. I'm not a guru. What do I know? Yeah.
That's a very good take. But speaking of gurus and what they like, what is your favorite part of being a content creator?
Man, you answered that while I sort out my plant. I'm just having an OCD moment. I just realized it's not like on the side. Give me a sec. Answer that
plant.
First.
Yeah, you guys, sorry, this for everyone listening to the podcast, I'm so sorry there's no visual reference for this. Mingyu has plants.
No, you can watch our
him.
YouTube. That's visual.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, go
Yes.
go for that. Okay. What's the favorite thing about being a content creator? I honestly don't know. Like Mingyu said, I think we are the worst influencers and KOLs. Like we don't care. Like, oh my gosh, my team hates how much we don't care. Like there's no consistency, there is no hashtags, there is no go and pose in front of this and take pictures, you know, there's no publicizing your lives. I think we are the antithesis of what the influencers are supposed to be. But one thing I do appreciate about being a quote unquote content creator is the things that we have been able to see, like the world we've been able to travel, the people that we've managed to get to know. It comes with a nice pass, you know, an express pass to a lot of industry things. I'm not going to lie. My best, and this doesn't make sense at all because there was literally no perks of like no payment and stuff, right? The epitome of being a content creator wasn't even a day we went to YouTube London. It was the day Mingyu and I and Brian stepped into Marvel's secret headquarters in New York. And we were not allowed to take pictures. We were not allowed to take videos. Nobody knows the existence of this happening except us. And we cannot show anyone anything about it. And to me, that is priceless. Like, it's the stuff you don't post that is precious. has to be the epitome. Like, I don't know, other than being able to have a career and provide for my family and friends, I don't think KOL or content creator, I don't know, people use which label these days, right? Like content creator, I think KOL, I don't know. I want to be into TikTok famous, yeah. The perks of it is definitely just some access. You get a lot of access into a lot of things. But I love being able to travel the world when it was pre-COVID and meeting different people, 100%. What's your favorite moment with being a KOL?
Oh, I love it so much.
He gets his plants at the back.
It's just
priorities. Yeah,
and I agree with Minghan. I think it's some of the amazing people we've managed to meet, and just the crazy windows of opportunity that have been open to us. Like I would never in a million years expect to work with some of the amazing brands that we've been able to work with. Like even back, like when we started off with like McDonald's, Coke, and then you see Netflix and Marvel today. I'm just like, what the heck, man? Like, where's all these people coming from? And I mean, throughout the whole process, we've always felt undeserving of it, honestly, because I think there's so many great creators out there. We don't understand, like, why would y'all choose us, or why would y'all, pick us for this? And I think that's been the reality check every step of the way. The fact that we know that we are nowhere close to being great, but still have these opportunities come across. That's, for us, I think that's one of the biggest motivators of continuing to strive to be better, at least if it's not to be the best. But yeah, that's just been the best part of it, that we're not living alone. Yeah.
I love how down to earth you guys are. So I'm just going to pick your brain for a little bit of personal advice. When I started, because like, I think this is very important when we think about creating content. So when we start out, we're very organic. We do what we feel like doing. Like you said,
here we go.
Being creative, following curiosity. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to bring to the screen.
Oh, damn.
But then the more like the numbers start coming in, and then, you have sponsors and you have to watch for things like stats and engagement. How do you not let those numbers get to you? The analytics.
I love the fact that Jeremy is here, because Jeremy and he can't say anything. So
Jeremy's just like quietly sitting over there, just like
numbers, stats, views, reasons, topics. Oh my gosh. So the thing is, like, okay, Mingyu is part of strategy now. Like we actually do this for people. We take a step back. Honestly, it's really weird because we don't apply any of these to our own content, right? But we help people do it a lot. I think it's also because, I don't know, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never liked applying analytics, stats, results, KPIs, ROIs to the things I want to create. Like, I never had the ROI or the goal of my content was never to achieve numbers. I just wanted to make something that I like. I personally would like to watch. And I've tried my best to distance the numbers from my content as much as possible. So maybe that's why it's easier for us to do it for other people, because it's not my content, but I can really break down, which hashtags to not use, how you should present it, up to which time of the day you should be posting this at, right? And it's really important now because in the day and era that we're living, it's not enough to just be a creator. You got to be a marketer of your content as well, and it's really horrible because creators are horrible marketers. And it's either you're a really good marketer and a horrible creator, and because very, very rarely these two go hand in hand, yeah? And you will see that you really can see those who really shoot the fame, they're really good at marketing themselves. They're insanely good. But as their content amazing, rarely they make like unique content. They're really good at knowing what content to make, but originality is just their image. And I love painting targets on my back, but I'm very honest with this, right? Like, the successful peers that I've had are those who can successfully market their brand and their image. The insanely successful peers I've had are those who can make unique content and market their brand and their image. So it's crazy because these days there's so much noise online. You have to pay attention to stats. You have to pay attention to how you pushing this out, how you taking promos of shit, and I just am so tired of it because I hate doing it on my own. And that's maybe why we just stopped making content, because I hate competing with noise. I hate trying to outsound something else next to me. But it is necessary. It is very, very strategic now. If you think about it, Mr. Beast knows what he's doing. Tommy Innit knows what he's doing. All these current new creators have found a niche and they know how to develop it. And we can't, unfortunately, if you want to be successful to a certain degree, or depends, again, defining how you define success. If you want to be famous and big in numbers, there are certain things you need to apply to, right? You need to follow. And these are the things that personally just don't sit in my own set of principles. So I've never chased clout. Like I don't care. If I like you and I like what you do, I don't really care about your numbers or what. I like your talent. Let's do something together. That's it. But I know that a better formula is that most people, like even YouTube says it, that you collaborate with someone with the same numbers, so on and so forth. So yeah, our whole journey in this is really balancing or bouncing back and forth between organic and inorganic, like you said, right, SueLyn? Like, how do you do that? And the real answer is, and I think like this applies to literally any creator, right? Is that you have to understand your platform. You need to understand what you are making and where you're making it, because it's a big deal these days. There's so like freaking TikTok, even TikTok versus Reels on Instagram. People say you can just double post and everything. And I'm like, I beg to differ. It's two different things, right? It's two different kind of audiences you want to see. Live streaming on Instagram, live streaming on Twitch, two different live streams. Absolutely different, right? So unfortunately, SueLyn, you do... There is due diligence. There is an understanding of your platform that you want. But on my own personal time, I'm just going to say, screw the rules. I'm just going to do me. And I want to push that boundary to be the purest of like, I'm just going to make my content. And if it blows up, here's it to everyone who says I need to have cleavage in my videos to put in my thumbnail. Because obviously I don't have any and I can't do it. But yeah, Mingyu is part of Strat for this. What is your take on like inorganic versus organic stuff?
Yeah, I guess this is where Ming and I differ quite vastly. And it's a good mix or so, right? So he believes in kind of like, making it screw the numbers and all that. But I think when you have like a team and all that in place, you can't do that as opposed to just being a solo creator who's funding himself, right? So we do have numbers and we do have, I don't use the word numbers. I use timelines as a very good indicator of what you're doing, right? Because I feel like you could be this great, amazing creator and you could make stuff for 50 years and no one sees it. And by that time, you're just eating dirt and grass. And I feel like that isn't doing justice to yourself as well. So when you have a full team of people coming in to do the same thing, there needs to be indicators of performance and success. Of course, for us, numbers, again, at the end of the day, they don't, numbers mean so many different things. I think the way that numbers have now become a option on Instagram, even for likes and followers and all that, like it's always changing. People used to see how many followers you have. Now it's engagement rate. I think in a couple of years it might change again to just purely like the number of comments you get or something like that, So we try not to be dictated by numbers, but we understand that that's a performance index that brands and clients do take in consideration. So that's also important for us, right? And it's not wrong. I feel like we had the liberty to create without worrying about all that. But now being responsible of brands and their performances and also our own content and our team, there needs to be that level of accountability of, am I doing this right for you? Is the work I'm doing giving you the results that you want? And I think that's how we kind of like measure success at the end of the day. It's never easy, especially with the way the market's moving and how things are constantly changing. But that's also, I guess, the prerogative of the initiative of the creators, right? If you are aware of what you're making, if you're aware of what the market is like, if you're thinking about the consumer experience and the end bit of who is receiving it, then you have a higher chance of getting your message out there a bit more and just being smarter with how you're doing it. So it's important for us. I mean, definitely numbers, we don't like to be governed by it. But we are aware of how it's important to brands and clients and people. Yeah.
It might not govern your personal stuff, but it governs everything else in brands. Like, I mean, the client isn't going to sit down and talk to you about your hopes and dreams, right? They're going to just look at your numbers and like, maybe we use this guy, right? That's basically it, right? So it's true. As much as I hate it, it is true. We are still subject to numbers because, I mean, even starting out, like you said, you pushed back and you comb back to like the earliest video. The simple thing to say it is the numbers are an indicator of how much people want to watch your stuff, right?
Yeah.
And at the start, it's a very interesting thing to see because like, 1,000 people want to watch me rant about a car park. Okay, great. So, and then you build on that. But when you get controlled by numbers, that's a whole different thing that we are definitely not going to talk about today.
Yeah.
But yes, there is a very big importance because it is a scale, a unit of measurement that brands understand, right? They don't have the time to sit down and talk to you about how meaningful your content is, unfortunately. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's also to make this whole thing sustainable, right? And I don't really want to end the podcast on something so hardcore. It's so depressing.
Okay.
But let's talk a bit. The last question, how do you get into your most creative zone, or when would you say you are most creative?
Wow. This I think about every day. Now this is the crazy part. Right? I think I've talked to Ming and Brian a lot about this, about how creativity changes and grows with you. And TLDR, my most creative is when I'm alone and doing nothing. Like I have to put down my phone. I have to be zoning out. Like I feel like that's my most creative moment. Like it becomes a discipline actually to disconnect. Like I think the Unplug project, I made that with foresight, knowing that it's going to be very important one day to unplug. And I think the real secret to creativity is boredom. Like I need to be bored. I genuinely need to be bored, and not the bored in the sense where I'm going to pop on Netflix and like be bored, right? Oh, I'm so bored watching this. No. I mean like 1990s bored, like Ostaga staring at the ceiling, nothing is happening, bored. Like that is the trigger
But honestly,
of creativity.
it's just very hard right now because everything that we see on social media, it's so, what do you call it, triggering? Like it wants to
But don't you think that's
you.
that's a secret? That's that's a secret in plain sight. Like to stand apart from people, you got to be doing something that no one else is doing.
Yeah,
and right
just a
now,
different result.
that something is nothing. You have to be doing nothing, and I want to be part of that fraction of the society that is doing nothing. And really that's really counterproductive, especially when you're running a team. Like how many hours of the day do I get to do nothing? Like can you imagine people call me, Ming, what you're doing? I'm lying down looking at the ceiling, like I'm trying to get inspiration. I would freaking get murdered, okay? But honestly, that's the thing. Some of the best ideas, like the Unplugged project, it came when I was unplugged, like not thinking about anything, like not doing anything. And I've tested this time and time again, and I've known my brain that I need to be doing absolutely nothing, to be the most creative. And it's how your brain works, because we're just so used to constant stimulation, right? Screen,
Stimulation.
that all the focus goes into that conscious part of, paying attention. Nothing is left for your brain, or no space is left for your brain to make stuff up. Imagination is at like a whole time low because you don't have to imagine anything anymore, right? But yeah, imagination is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it gets weak. And I feel like that's why people kind of joke like, I get my best ideas when I go to the toilet or when I go and shower, but not anymore because people bring their phones into the toilet, right? So I do make it a discipline that my most creative is when I absolutely do nothing, like zero, plug out, don't talk to me. Let me ponder on the existence of life or something like that. And that's where the thing. Ming, when is yours? Your most creative?
I realize I'm most creative when I am given a deadline. or if you put me in the situation itself, then like my creativity times, like it amplifies
Desperation
and
creates
it magnifies
inspiration.
a lot more. So like, for example, like writing a script, I can be creative on my own. I think that's how the sparks usually start, but it's in the moment that I'm doing it where it magnifies by by leaps and bounds. So that's why I always, whenever we write scripts for clients, I tell them like it's probably going to be a very big difference on the day of shooting this, because I will have a way more like inspiration. So that was something that we did recently with like telco. We shot on a very tight timeline. We had to come up with 7 videos and shoot them all in one day. And I told them this is a rough guide of what's going to happen. But when we shot it, things did change quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's similar for me for my reels as well. Like I've never planned any of the reels, maybe 1 or 2 the day before. I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to talk about this tomorrow. But all of it has always been the minute I hit record, and then like I start figuring out what I'm going to say. So that's been my process. But I always tell like the team and the people around me, like, don't be like, you cannot be victim to your environment. Like, so what if there is a lot of noise? So what if like life sucks and you have to work 9 to 9 and you got no time to be creative? I'm like, if that's your life and if that's how the cards are dealt, then you find a way to make the use of it, like make the most of it. Like the resources are given to you, right? Do something with what you have. And then I think like, because creativity cannot be this serene mindset, like a state that you need to aspire to be. If it was, right, nobody will be creative. Very few maybe like really on a good day, like we can go out to the like middle of the ocean and be on the boat alone. But realistically, all of the biggest ideas that Ming Han and I have had was always in the thick of it. It was always just like in the grind in and out of it, right? You saw that I mentioned. Yeah. And then after that, it's just like it's in the mundane that we see the miracles. And that's always been how we've been operating from our short stories and sketches, that we will always pick up on something that is the most boring thing of like being in a supermarket and seeing a mother scold the child. We create an entire sketch just about that scenario. And I think that is what good creators should strive to be inspired by. Yeah.
No, it's like so much less of like happen to me creativity, where is this enlightenment? No, it's a chase. You got to chase it or nothing happens. Yeah.
And like what Ming Han said just now, it's like a muscle. You guys keep practicing it, your imagination. That's why when you pick up your phone and start to roll for your reels, like you just like it's so effortless for you because you've been practicing it like a muscle.
Yeah, somewhat. Never gets easier, by the way. Just saying.
But I love seeing that you guys have very different answers. Clearly, you guys have a very unique dynamic, almost juxtaposition at this point. It's like both of you are on extreme ends of what you're doing. And you have taken us through this whole journey. I feel like, 6-10 years, we have experienced the whole thing in like half an hour. So thank you guys so much for coming on. It was really, really fun talking to you, especially on a Monday morning that we're recording this. The energy is just amazing.
Thank you for letting us be long-winded for half an hour of plus.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you. It was great. Honestly, it was amazing. And listener, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, get vaccinated, wear your mask, and take care, everyone. See you all next week. Bye.
Bye.